My book about search of identity in Russia is being now translated to English and will be published next month by the Open University. The last chapter in this book deals with the present regime in Russia, mainly under Putin, where we see a very interesting attempt to define what's Russia today, what's the face of the country, what should be kind of an ideology. And basically, we can see some recent development which try to explain to all of us that Russia today, which after the collapse of the Soviet Union, tried to find its way within the close borders of Russia, dealing mainly with what they call the neighbor countries, and trying to avoid any kind of conflicts with the traditional rivals of the Soviet Union, like United States or Europe. In the last few years, we see some tension is being developed with those old rivalries. At the beginning, it was only in certain areas, like in Central Asia, around Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, then in the Caucasus, mainly with Georgia. After that, it was followed with the Ukraine, with the last election in the Ukraine. Now we see that it goes much behind those near neighbors. We see at least on three or four attempts. One is in the Northern Pole. We see a new rivalry developing on the Northern Pole, where the Russians put the flags on the pole, under the pole. The Danish are following them. The Canadians are already in, and the Americans from Alaska are already there. Definitely, it's not just because of honor or respect. Basically, it's based on economical interest. We see the tension around the missiles in Poland, the missiles of NATO that's being put in Poland and Czechia, where the Russians are making very clear against whom those missiles are being put there. It's probably against Russia. Of course, the attempt of the Americans claiming that it's basically is against Iran, so Putin offered them, in such a case, we can use our installments in Azerbaijan, which is much closer to Iran. The third place that we can see some tension, very minor, we can see it in the Middle East. When Syria is playing the spoiler game, or the Americans are in a conflict with Syria, the Syria is getting now new supplies of weapons from mainly anti-craft missiles from Russia. The last place that I want to mention, which draws a lot of attention now in the world, is Iran. Russia is playing a dual game, a double game, where they are against the nuclear developments in Iran. At the same time, Russia plays the main supplier of the nuclear installments in Russia. They try to work out with the West a compromise in dealing with Iran. At the same time, they are continuing to supply Iran with all what's necessary. In other words, and I would like to sum it up, that Russia is trying to play a role, I would put it, a global role as a superpower, as a new superpower which is developing. It's not the same as the Soviet Union, it's not the same ideology, it's not the same attention, but definitely Russia is making very clear to the Western world, we are a global power, take us as that, regard us as that, and what's more important, they also bring this message to the population of Russia and trying to create a certain pride and a national pride among the Russian citizens.